Welcome back, you guys, and let's talk about Dragan Bender, the number 4 pick in the 2016 NBA draft. He was picked one spot before Kris Dunn and one after Jaylen Brown. Players in the top 5 have high expectations even if they are labeled long-term projects like Dragan Bender. The draft comparisons he got from some people have not been right, and with the Suns changing their roster every year, you gotta wonder if Bender is next even if he is still developing. Now you might be saying this is way too early, but with the way his career has gone and with Phoenix's roster changes, I think it's a good time to update on his career. If I got any Suns fans in here, let me know if I'm too early, so let's talk about Dragan. Dragan Bender is a 7'1" power forward from Croatia with a lot of skills that could make him a player that plays for a long time in today's NBA. He has range beyond the three-point line, has good passing instincts, and is pretty agile and can keep up with quicker players moving side to side. The idea is he can eventually get stronger so he can play some center minutes and be a great pick-and-pop player next to Devin Booker. What got Bender onto the NBA radar was his play in the 2014 Under-18 European Championships. He had back-to-back games with almost triple-doubles in the tournament, playing against the best competition in Europe. The best things about Bender's game, which are his passing, shooting, and being mobile on defense, were on display in that tournament. Moving into his final year in the Israeli Basketball League, he made the All-Star team, and going into the 2016 draft, those lazy draft comparisons that everyone dislikes started rolling in. There were sites that compared him to Kristaps Porzingis, and thankfully some other draft sites pushed back on that. Now, Kristaps and Dragan do have some similarities of being very tall, European, and being shooters, but it wasn't a fair comparison as it was setting him up for failure, and they're different players. Dragan is not known as a finisher, and he can't mix it up inside like Porzingis, so just off that, the comparison is wrong. When I said I was making this video about a month ago, someone DM'd me and told me he watched almost every single game of the team that Dragan played on in Europe. He told me that while Bender had potential as a player, he was not someone who we thought was going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. Well, because of that versatility, three-point shooting, and potential as a modern frontcourt player, the Phoenix Suns drafted him at number 4. Dragan's first year in the NBA was a development year. He was 19 years old, and most rookies aren't good or impactful, so no one was expecting him to really do anything, and he didn't. He's only around 220 pounds, so he's not someone who's going to dominate inside on offense or defense. The concerning thing about his rookie year was his three-point shooting. He shot only 27% from 3, and that is pretty bad for someone who was known as a shooter. Plus, he missed 39 games with an ankle injury, so it was kind of rough for him that year. In his second year, which was this past season, he made some improvements. He actually had a nice month of play in the month of February 2018, and he closed the season well. There were moments where you think he's putting it all together, he's hitting threes and making teams pay for overhelping on Devin Booker, he's being annoying on defense and making quick passes. His stats in February were 10 points, 6 rebounds, and he shot 42% from 3 on almost 5 attempts per game. If Bender can average that in his third year, that would be huge for his development. I've talked about this before and I'll say it again, if you can hit threes, you will get minutes even if you're bad at everything else. Being able to shoot is important for every position, but especially for him in the front court when you're opening things up for Devin Booker, it's going to be good if he can start hitting threes at a high rate. So if you did not pay attention to the Suns in the Summer League about 2 months ago, I don't blame you, so let me update you. Dragan Bender was kind of disappointing as an individual. He still sort of looked like a rookie that was still learning the pro game, rather than someone who's been in the league for 2 years. He did not show much to get excited about, and to me there is a chance he could fall out of the rotation if Phoenix wants to play their young wings at power forward. Now this brings Ryan Anderson into the mix, who they just traded for about a few weeks ago. For one, we can finally end the Marquise Chris era in Phoenix and the endless debates between Suns fans that thought Chris was better than Bender. Chris being gone ends the dynamic of 2 young guys having to compete for minutes, so Bender should have a more steady role minutes-wise. You know, obviously things can change in training camp, but Ryan Anderson is most likely going to be the team's starting power forward on opening night. Anderson does what Bender does well at a higher level, and that is bombing threes. People always talk about, oh, this guy has three-point range, this guy can stretch the floor. Anderson is legitimately one of those guys who can pull defenders towards the hash mark and open up the floor for his teammates, making it easier for them to get their shots. Changing the topic to Dragan and the Suns as a team, well, they're trying not to be a joke anymore. For the past 4 seasons, they've been pretty awful. They've been easy to score on, easy to stop, but in 2019 with some new pieces, they're trying to be respectable and not be a team you can walk in and say, we're getting an easy W. They have a potential year in and year out all-star in Devin Booker and need to maximize his talents with the best roster possible. Next year's free agency has a lot of heavy hitters, and teams like the Lakers, Knicks, and Nets have been talked about as big free agent homes. Well, the Phoenix Suns are one of those teams too. Phoenix has some space in 2019 to sign a pretty good player. If Bender wants to be a part of that future rotation, he's going to have to improve as a shooter, defender, and just be a confident player. Confidence is one of the things that has held back Dragan on the court. Josh Jackson said this about Bender in an interview. I think Dragan, one of his problems was he was just a little timid sometimes. He's a great shooter, but we've got to tell him to shoot the ball sometimes. I'm not giving up on him just yet. Maybe with a new head coach and a better roster next to him, he can find a new role. At the end of the 2019-2020 season, he will be up for an extension with the Phoenix Suns, but my question is, will Dragan even make it to that point? Phoenix is looking to trade for a point guard, and it's hard for me to think of a scenario where Dragan is not involved in some of those trade packages. Bender will turn 21 in a few months, so he has time to rewrite his current narrative, but we're also at a breaking point because he was just a top 5 pick, and there's a chance he does not get re-signed. He was labeled a long-term project just 2 years ago, but the bust narrative has been common because he hasn't impacted the game like a top 5 pick should, and the Phoenix Suns are trying to win. That's it for me. Have you given up on Bender, or you think he will be good still? I think he can turn into a starting stretch 4 best case scenario, so something like Channing Frye with better passing. If you're still here supporting the channel through the shaky upload schedule, I appreciate it. Let me know where you guys are watching this from, so I'll see you guys soon in my Andrew Bynum video.